Hey guys, in this video I did 100 tier 7 solo dungeon maps and tracked the rewards. I'm going to be comparing the results to some of my previous videos, specifically the 6.1 maps and the normal tier 7 solo dungeons, so make sure you check those ones out. I'll put the links in the description below. Now I did these dungeons in Razor Rock Bank, which is a tier 7 zone pretty deep in the black zone, which doesn't seem to get very much traffic. In fact, this zone was really amazing because I actually got ganked or dove a total of 0 times in the 100 dungeons. Around 50 of the dungeons were done after the patch that changes so that the dungeons close 90 seconds after, which reduces the chance of getting dove, but even then I did around 50 before that change was implemented, so those would have been more dangerous, and even then I didn't see a single person. So I chose a pretty fast clearing build with the one-handed spear to do these dungeons. I used a cleric robe for that extra damage, as well as a stalker hood, and then I also had some defensiveness in my build with a Fort Sterling cape and demon boots. This is one of the faster clearing builds in the game, especially because the items I was using were tier 9 equivalent. Going with a faster clearing build with these dungeons really paid off, as I completed the 100 dungeons in 12 hours and 25 minutes. This is an average of 7 minutes and 45 seconds per dungeon. This time is just barely longer than the normal tier 7s, which were at 12 hours. However, there were also more floors that I went through in the maps. For the tier 7 maps, I went through 165 floors total, whereas the normal tier 7s was only 154. So this follows a similar pattern to the previous video that shows that maps do in fact give you a little bit more floors than normal ones. However, as these were flat maps, I actually got less floors than I did in the 6.1 dungeons, as that one was 180 floors. Similarly to the pattern for all the other videos I've done as well, there was 156 buff shrines in total, which translates to around 1 buff shrine per floor. Moving on to the loot chests, there was 58 green, 113 blue, 36 purple, and 6 gold chests. This is almost the exact same as I got from the normal tier 7 dungeons, barring the 6 legendary chests, which was very abnormal. This also followed a similar pattern to my previous map video on 6.1s, where the amount of loot chests are around the same as the normal ones, but the amount of fame chests go up significantly. For the tier 7 maps, I had 10 green, 14 blue, and 1 purple of the fame chests, which translated to 710 beginner tomes of insight. This is over twice as much as I had gotten from the normal tier 7 dungeons. There was also 16 fame/silver boosting pools. Taking a look at the fame that I received from these 100 dungeons, the total amount of fame that I got was 11.63 million, not including any of the Tome of Insight drops or the books from the fame chests. This translates to around 936,000 fame per hour, just shy of the 1 million mark. This is around 15 to 20% higher fame per hour than I was getting from the normal tier 7 dungeons, which sort of matches with the mobs being 16% stronger, and was right around the same as the fame per hour that I got from the 6.1 dungeons. Okay, moving on to take a look at the loot here. It looks pretty similar to what I was getting in the normal tier 7 dungeons, however the quantity is just a little bit more. So it filled 3 tabs total this time, and you can see sort of same as normal for the tier 7s, with tier 5 items being the lowest. The weapons here, we have a lot of tier 6 to 8 equivalents, well not that many tier 8s, but especially tier 6 and 7 equivalents, there's quite a lot, and then there's also a fair amount of tier 8 equivalents there. So weapons, there's nothing too crazy in weapons. The highest tier weapon I got was the 72 Wild Staff here, so that's should be a lot. You can see around 700k there, that's pretty nice. Helmets, again, nothing too crazy. 72 Knight helmet, 60 Soldier. Moving on to the rest of the gear here, the chest pieces. Again, nothing too crazy, some tier 8 equivalents. Got the Assassin Jacket there. Boots, again. Some pretty high tier ones, some low tier ones. A lot of tier 8 equivalents actually with this, with the Mage, the Mercenary, the Hunter Shoes. So that's pretty good. Moving on to capes and bags. We got quite a lot of special capes and actually a lot of bags this time as well. So got quite a few of undead and keeper capes with 3 undead keeps and 4 keeper capes. Those are going to add up a lot. Normal capes, not too much there. There's a tier 8 one, which is nice. Bags, all quite a lot for bags. Quite a lot of high tier bags, and especially the lower tier ones. I got a lot of tier 6 bags, I thought. So yeah, quite a few tier 6 bags, some tier 5 as well. If you add in these satchels of insight, the new ones here, a lot of those as well, especially the 7.1 one is pretty expensive. It's staying over 300k. So that's quite a bit of money in the bags and capes. And moving on to the final tab, the miscellaneous stuff. We had quite a lot of bags of silver, actually totaling just over 6 mil there, which is pretty crazy. Tomes of insight drops, we got even more than we did with the 6.1s at over 100, 111. Got another wardrobe skin there, which is kind of cool. Interestingly, we actually got around a 20% return rate on our maps with 20 solo dungeon maps for tier 7 that we got from that. That's pretty cool, along with some group ones which will sell nicely. Runes, relics, souls, again, just very high quantity of them. Didn't get any too crazy tier 8 souls and relics. I only got the runes for those, but the quantity still quite high, over 1,000 tier 6s, over 5,000-6,000 of the tier 5s. Just quite an insane amount. Moving on to even more miscellaneous random stuff. Some K crests, which is nice. 27 Swiftclaw clubs. Wish those didn't go down in price so much, or that would be worth quite a lot. And random treasures, relics, and furniture. So if we add this all up, starting with the gear, both tabs of gear come to a total of 9.18 mil. The capes in the bags total here at 6.44 mil. The total for the bags of silver is 6.06 mil, and the rest of the miscellaneous random stuff sits at 10.8 mil. This brings our total price check to 32.48 mil. However, since again we were doing maps, we had to spend money on maps, and the maps cost me around 2.68 mil, which brings our actual profit down to 29.8 mil total, or around 2.4 mil per hour. So is doing flat 7 solo maps worth it? Well, compared to all of the other solo maps that I've done, these ones have been the best in terms of, well, pretty much everything. Loot was the best, fame was the best, rewards all across the board, even didn't get dove at all. So in terms of that, they have been the absolute best of all the solo dungeons I've ever done. However, there's a couple things to note. First of all, obviously I got way more golden chests than I think you would get on average with 6. That's the highest I've gotten, over twice as high as I've gotten in any other solo dungeons that I've done. But also on top of that, the price of solo maps has actually gone up significantly since I bought the maps for the tier 7 video, as it was before the update where you used them to make satchels. While I bought them for around 27k each, you can now get them for around 47k each. So if you were going to do this yourself now, you'd probably be spending closer to 4.7 mil on maps rather than 2.7 mil. These two things together mean we can knock off probably around 4 to 5 mil off of the total profit that I got to get a more reliable average for if you were going to do them in the future. Reducing the total that I got by 5 mil actually still puts our total right at 2 mil per hour. So even with all of those reductions though, it is still very, very good activity. I think so far this has been the best maps I've done even with those reductions. Now that's all for this one, guys. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss on any future content. Thanks.